Humans of the internet, this is Michael Palmer from Ford Truck Enthusiasts, Mustang Forums, and the Mustang Source. I'm hanging out at the Detroit Auto Show. There's music playing, and I hope I don't get a copyright strike for sharing this, but it is a Mustang event tonight. We've got the Mustang GTD, the Mustang Dark Horse, and a bunch of Mustang race cars. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of everything they have tonight and a way to share it. First Mustang here is going to be the controversial one, I think, and this is the Mustang Mach-E Ralley. This was just announced this week. Basically, it's a Mustang the Mach-E GT Performance. They raised it up, changed the suspension tuning, and added a little spoiler there. Over here, we've got a 2024 Mustang Premium GT. You can see the blue Brembo brakes right there. We've got Recaro seats, and I think this is, yep, we got an MT82 transmission and the electronic drift brake. Over here, you guys, we've got the Mustang EcoBoost with the black accent package. What do you guys think of the front end? I have to say that seeing it in person, it's really growing on me. I think in pictures it's a little flat, and I kind of wish that Ford had brought the color of the bumper all the way up to the grille, like on, you know, the last, I don't know, 10, 20, forever years of Mustangs. But I have to say that in person it looks a lot better, and I think the Dark Horse is probably my favorite of the, you know, the affordable street Mustangs. Here we've got, it's another premium interior, 10-speed automatic. Here's what's really interesting. I didn't realize how much flatter the S650 was compared to the S550. But you can't miss that. And I think the rear end looks amazing. Right over here, we've got the Dark Horse, which is replacing the Mach 1 for 2024. This is your most trackable version, built-in MagneRide, active valve exhaust, extra cooling, get a diff cooler, trans coolers, bigger radiator. This is the one for the most performance, and this is blue ember metallic, which is probably the coolest Mustang color since Mystic Chrome. It looks kind of amazing in person. We got a 10-speed version here. We've got, again, Recaro bucket seats with a mix of leather and suede, which is really cool. Kind of reminds me of my personal 2013 Boss 302. All right, moving on across the way. We've got a giant Mustang right there, and we're heading over to check out the race cars before we go to check out the Mustang GTD, because it's gonna make a little bit more sense after we've seen these cars. We've got the Mustang Dark Horse R in the new livery. You've probably seen this before with kind of a gray with some oranges and purples and so forth on it. They just changed the livery, and this is the one that you can buy. It's not street legal, but it's basically a Dark Horse motor, Borla exhaust, and it's for weekend racers. It's pretty expensive, but it's something that kind of weekend racers use there. Here we've got GT4 class racing, which is a little bit more, you'll see it's more stripped down. Let's see, cutting through here. And so it's kind of like a more sparse of an interior for professional racers. And then here, this is the GT3. So this was designed and built by the folks at Multimatic, and they're the ones that built the Ford GT. So the idea here was, what if Ford could build a supercar that could go racing on the international stage and compete with Ford? Oh, go ahead. It's okay.
Sure?
Yeah. And this was the concept they came up with. So it's basically the widest Mustang ever. It's got a Shelby GT500 motor in the front, and it's actually got a trans axle. So the transmission is in the back, along with the suspension is inboard, so it's above the transmission, kind of where the back seat and so forth go, big wing and all that stuff. And the story is that Jim Farley came into Multimatic, saw them building this thing, and he was like, oh, I really need a street car version of this. So let's go check that out. But along the way, let's also check out the tech behind it. This is that suspension I was telling you guys about, the inboard suspension. So this is kind of where the back seat and the trunk would go in the car. And then attached to the subframe, this is another version of the subframe. We've got the dual clutch transmission, you know, similar to what the GT500 has. And that's in the back, connected to the drive shaft, which would be directly behind the engine. And then one more thing before we see the car. So here is the spindle, the front control arms and everything like that. 21-inch calipers, carbon ceramics. Bigger than, I think, every wheel I've ever had. I only own 19s on my Boss 302. And this is the rear wing with the active aero. And coming in over here, it's a bit crowded. We've got very fancy people here who helped. There's the gentleman who designed it. His name is Larry.
Literally 15 seconds.
And so,
right, 15.
this is the Mustang GTD, the first Mustang supercar. Now, the idea here, guys, is that this is not one you're going to go down to the Ford dealership to purchase. It's going to be like the Ford GT. It's an application process. The pricing starts at $300,000 because this is something that's going to go beat Porsches on the Nürburgring. Like, that's kind of how serious it is. And so, again, up front, and what's interesting about it, though, is that the street car is actually going to be faster than the race car because in racing, you have rules. You can't use carbon ceramic brakes. You have certain horsepower limits and all that sort of stuff. And so here, what they're able to do is that they're going to make the engine more powerful. It's going to be, they're targeting over 800 horsepower. We don't know the final numbers yet, but I suspect they're going to go well over that. Those are magnesium wheels. So they're, you know, light like carbon fiber wheels, but much stronger. And as you can see, the body looks just like the race car. Here's what's really cool. It's got active aero. So up here, there's a flap on the wing that when it's in the up position, it puts a lot of downforce on the car, and then it can open up to remove that downforce so the car can go at higher speeds. And there's a matching component underneath the engine bay over there so that the weight is balanced. All right, here comes the exhaust, and this is actually super neat, you guys. Oh yeah, you can see there's the active aero flap right there that moves up and down. And then here you can see there's added cooling where the trunk would be. You can see some fans right in there. There's probably a radiator right there. Here we've got the, I think it's either titanium or magnesium exhaust. That's the rear splitter. That's the rear end. So yeah, that, my friends, is the first Mustang supercar. I wish it was something that all of us could dream of owning and dream of affording. But yeah, this is, it's basically, think of more about the Ford GT, the GT40, those Le Mans winning cars, and that's what they're going for here. That's kind of the spirit, which is unfortunately why it's the most expensive Mustang ever, and it's going to be very limited production, very limited numbers, just like the Ford GT. So it's going to be, but hopefully some very interesting people will apply and get a chance to own one. And wow, it is just wild in person. Widest Mustang, most active aero, active vents, 5.2 liter supercharged V8, you know, a better version of the GT500. So hopefully some of the technology that they're working out in this will trickle down into the street ones that folks can actually afford. And wow, and I love the front end. I think it looks better than the Dark Horse. I think it looks better than GT and everything. And not just because it's wide and crazy. I love how they brought the bumper right back up there. It just looks more like a classic Mustang than kind of the standard design. But that's just my opinion, of course. What do you guys think? Carbon ceramic brakes, 21-inch carbon ceramic brakes. Amazing. Oh, and they're Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires. So, wow. Stunning. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all are well and safe, and we'll see you on the next video.